If you're a techno producer and you don't know this method of making bass, you really need to learn it. I'm going to be showing you how to make a kick into a bass and essentially just give it all the texture you need. To do this, I'm going to be using some pieces from my new pack, Definitive Techno Bass. The link is at the top of the description. It's got these 10 kits with kicks and bass loops, plus it's got these 3 racks, which I'm going to be using in the video today to kind of illustrate this to you. The link's at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, guys. Every little bit really helps because I don't make a lot on YouTube, but with these packs, I'm able to keep going, keep bringing you guys videos on how to do the stuff we all need to know. Thanks for the support, everybody. And let's dive in. Alright, so the secret here is using a kick to create a bass, but not just doing that, actually giving it some feeling. What we have here is we have a kick. Again, just one of the kick loops from the pack. You could also program this in MIDI, but I dragged this one in. And then we have the same kick on another audio track. And it's actually a little bit louder because this stuff kind of, right? But basically what we're doing here is we're creating a rumble, just like kind of standard, like we got some reverb. And you can also play with the delay too, right? Or use one or the other. You can filter it as well if you want. I didn't do that here. And then you're going to distort it, right? Just once at the end of that chain. So you're going to have this, and it does sound quite industrial. It does sound quite techno. It has the texture, but it's not really detailed. And there's also an issue of, like, I think this isn't actually holding up as far as bass. Like, if you actually put this against, like, a pro track, like the tracks we all want to match up to, it's not quite there just yet. So this is where the secret that nobody's ever shown you before comes in, which is this rack here. And what we're doing with this rack is multi-band distortion. You can see I'm distorting the sound in 3 different layers, and then each one is split into just the highs, the mids, and the lows. And what this allows you to do is, like, actually shape it into something, because you can see all 3 of those need very different things, right? With the highs, we're just creating like a bit of movement. Like, this is almost a percussion loop, right? And then you just take only the highs so that it's not going to clash and not going to have any issues. I cut out a bit of like a messy kind of resonance there as well. Also important when you're doing this, because when you distort stuff, it is going to add those kind of resonances. And then there's the auto pan. And this is another big argument for doing this with the multi-band method in a rack, is like we have this doing 16th notes. Right, which kind of gives this like a bit of a more percussive feel, and it gives a lot more rhythm to the kick. Like, if we get rid of that, see, it's still just like that wash. This really gives it, you know, percussion and kind of makes it fit into the track. Not to mention, it's going to add groove to the track. We really don't need to distort the highs that much. It's just a bit of saturator. I think in this case, it's really just more about getting the highs on their own and then giving them the rhythm with autopan. You could also do 8th notes. Yeah, you can even play with like, right, I think that's how a lot of industrial kicks are made, but essentially just playing with that autopan, shaping the volume. And you can also use shaper box or anything, but autopan is my favorite. In the mids, again, we're really just trying to preserve the mids, what we're getting. It's not too much, it's just a bit of saturation. But the thing with the mids, and also with the highs, as you can see, is this one here, which is the low end, that's turned up the loudest. So if you don't have this rack and you're not splitting them into the high, mid, and low, that's why it doesn't really hold up with other tracks. In addition to the rhythm stuff, in addition to it needs a bit more saturation, literally you just need your mids and highs to be a bit quieter. Right, this way we're literally just able to turn the lows up the loudest. And then on the low end, that's the one you're going to work with the most. Because we're, again, at the end of the day, we're trying to create a bass here, but we do need that mid-range and high end still. So with this one, I'm soloing the lows, so it starts like this. Just the rumble. And then you can actually use a frequency shifter. It's really subtle. It's just the fine tune. So it's not even that much pitching. But for some reason, I just found it makes it sit a little bit better against the kick. Like if we don't have that, you hear it, right? And this is one of those things you're not going to have to do every time, but a lot of times it can really just help to be like that last little bit. And you really don't get that unless you do referencing. Like when I made this, I had a few different pro kicks lined up and a few tracks that I just checked and made sure, okay, like my bass is doing this, their bass is doing that. And I found that this does really help. Even if this isn't exactly what everybody's doing, this can really make a big difference in terms of just making it work with the kick. Then we have a bit of EQ. We are boosting the lows quite a bit, actually. And then we're cutting at 100 as well, because that's where the kick usually hits, right? 100 hertz. So you just cut that and clean it up. And again, we're able to go from this, which is like not really doing it, but maybe you would think it was if you didn't know, to this. An actual workable low end that will hold up against other tracks. The last very important step to this is the sidechain. Now, if you don't sidechain, it's just going to be a nightmare, right? So what we're doing is we're sidechaining it to the kick. I'm not doing any kind of hidden sidechain layer, but the secret is what you want to do is use this EQ and sidechain it to just the high end. What this is a high pass filter, so you bring it up, and then it makes it so you're only sidechaining to this. Just a little click on top of the kick. So now this is going to duck out of the way quickly and then come back. You're not going to have, like, if you don't do that, if we just turn off the EQ, it sounds like crap, right? So you want to turn that on and you get this nice, snappy, tight sidechain. And then you can work with it. If you want it to be longer, you can still play with the release, but you're not stuck with it in that kind of like annoying sort of weird 16th note thing that ends up happening. You just have this clean thing. And there you go. You can play with this a bit, instead of reverb, like I said, you could do delay. Yeah, you can play with a lot of different stuff inside of this Ableton rack. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. That is the bass secret that everybody needs to know. You need to split your bass into 3 bands, and it's going to allow you to still have the mids and highs and the texture you want, but then you're going to still be able to get the low end you want. You see how loud the low end is compared to those, and it just works. So that's me for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Check out Definitive Techno Bass at the top of the description on my website. Like I said, if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to grab it. It really helps keep me going so I can keep bringing you guys videos like this every day. Thanks for the support, everybody. It's got the rack, and everything you heard in this video is available in that pack. Thanks for the support, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.